Hello everyone and welcome back to another D&D horror story video. I want to thank you very much for joining me today as we delve into the dark recesses of D&D horror stories. Today we got a few that kind of pissed me off, honestly, so let's get back into it. This one comes from Respect Necessary 1041, and this one's called Losing My Love for D&D. If you're interested, here's the TLDR. Problem player ends up dating my brother and forces two players to quit after 5 years of playing D&D because of her childish attitude. So this might be a long on, so apologies for that. But I have a problem player in my game. She is a power gamer. Not that there is anything inherently wrong with that. And that clashes with a few other player playing styles. She also has pushed for one of the other player characters in party to become the leader, only really wanting to take thoughts and ideas from any other players. A little bit of background: the problem player, PP, joined our game because her previous game had died due to lockdown back in 2020. She was missing playing D&D, so I offered an invite to the game I was running. This group consisted of my younger brother, YB, couple of mates I knew from a different hobby, F1 and F2, and PP was already a part of, and a married couple, MM and MF, who I met at a board game shop and hit it off with. Now we're all roughly in our late 20s to mid 30s, and the original 5 players got on really well. It was a lot of their first time playing D&D. So they were all happy for PP to join the game. As soon as her character was introduced, it started off rocky, when PP and MM kinda butted heads over whether PP's character was who she was, or was she lying? I'm guessing saying who she was, but lying about who she actually was. Fast forward a few months, and we do our first in-game, and PP needs somewhere local to stay, and my brother offers. This is the start of them hooking up and eventually leads them to dating. She's still standoffish and with the married couple, but in particular the guy. Now, I am not picking up in this all, and no one is being in it to my attention either. I completely fucked that up. I have no idea. Okay, I kind of get it. Time jumping to present day. The married couple have now left the group after 5 years of playing D&D, saying they are done with PP's attitude and snide comments about them, both but mainly towards MM. I was gutted. I had no idea it had gotten so bad, and I was annoyed at myself for not putting her attitude in check. During one of the last games, she stormed out of the game because she didn't get her way, and how an interaction with an NPC went. She left mid-game and didn't come back for 45 minutes, only returning after my brother apologized for something that he didn't need to say sorry for, blaming himself for the NPC's interaction going badly. It did not. I now have a lot of resentment towards PP, and I don't really want to play D&D with her anymore, but I cannot say that due to her relationship with my brother. But D&D now seems tainted, and going from 6 players down to 3, whereon is PP and is still acting like a child, isn't fun. Please feel free to ask me anything about the situation so I can try and clarify things. Damn, that sucks. I'm sorry you have to deal with a problem player. The fact that the married couple left because she was just so insufferable Yeah, and you do admit that you should have put your foot down, but it's like you said, you weren't really aware of it or didn't really see it. This one comes from Katie with a C. Our DM surprise drugged me and the other players. Content warning, non-consensual drugging. Back in 2015, I was a 22-year-old woman, straight out of college, and had just discovered the joy that is D&D. Thanks to Critical Role, through a friend of a friend, I managed to find a group for my then boyfriend, his best friend, and myself to join. The DM was a man in his 40s who we didn't know well, but as I'm sure people know, it can be hard to find a DM. The first couple of sessions went fine, so we didn't think twice when he invited us to another one. He lived about an hour away from us, so we all got into our car together and drove to his place. There were two other PCs in addition to the three of us. Within the game, our characters met with an official who offers us refreshments during the meeting. The refreshments are cupcakes, and at this point the DM goes into the kitchen and brings out cupcakes he made for the session. I thought it was super sweet. We didn't eat. We started eating the cupcakes as we play, and the DM tells us to make saving throws. It turns out the cupcakes in-game are drugged and are intended to knock our characters out. The official is secretly evil and trying to set us up. So far, so good. Then the DM drops the fact that the cupcakes we are actually eating in real life are also drugged. We immediately ask what the hell he meant, and he says these cupcakes are edibles. I don't do any drugs, so I'm pretty upset to learn this in addition. We drove here, which means we need to drive home. We point this out to him, and he says the dose is low, so it's no big deal. At this point, we should have left, but we stayed to finish playing the session because we were young and struggled to assert ourselves. My boyfriend and his friend are playing dwarves, so they had advantage on saves against poison. I happened to roll a nat 20. As a result, the drugs didn't work on our characters. This clearly frustrates the DM, who tells us there's no way out of the room and we're going to be restrained no matter what. He doesn't let us play it out, just tells us we're knocked out, because clearly that's what he had planned. We wake up on a ship, we're confused, because we had a pretty clear story going before this, and it doesn't become clear that the DM scrapped the entire story and is trying to completely shift gears to a pirate adventure. My boyfriend's friend is pissed about this entire situation, so he starts talking back in-game to the pirate captain. She whips him every time he talks back and immediately does 1 point of damage. No AC check, no check for him to fight back. He doesn't let this discourage him and he continues to insult her. The DM is frustrated and is like, seriously man, stop talking back to her or she's going to kill you. My boyfriend's friend says, okay, then I die. At this point, the session understandably ends. I had only taken like one bite of the cupcake, so I took the risk to drive home since we were an hour away from our homes. We communicated with the DM online that we did not appreciate the surprise drugging, and he gave a half-assed apology and tried to schedule another session, but we told him we weren't interested. He proceeded to send my boyfriend an angry message telling us all that we're awful players and people. So that was fun. That is called a crime. Non-consensual drugging is a crime, and I want to say in most countries, whatever. I want to say, since you said you went to college, there's a lot of colleges in the U.S. and there's a lot of colleges in Canada and so on and so forth. But chances are, wherever there's colleges, there's laws against being drugged, at least. And holy shit, I would have called the cops. I would have ratted the fuck out of this guy. You don't know him. You don't owe him any allegiance. I know you drove an hour out there, but that just makes the situation even more sketchy. Imagine you ate the whole thing and you actually get knocked out by whatever drug is in here, and there goes your night. Let's say he's a nice person and just lets you sleep it off in his house. That's creepy as shit too. No, just all of this. No. As for his DMing, just because it didn't go his way, he goes a different route. No. No. As soon as he said the cupcakes were in real life drugged, I would have got up, called the police, and told them everything. Because you have 3 witnesses: your boyfriend and your boyfriend's friend and yourself. And you have evidence. Cupcake. So, no. Just all of that story. No. This one's a short one, but I'll read it anyway. This one's called No Secretary 9046. Kicked from game for being trans. This happened a couple of years ago. I randomly got a message at one point from the DM that mentioned that he found my profile at a big PNP server. Since he's searching for a member, he'd like me to join his campaign. The initial talk was great, but he mentioned that he was playing 3 times a week. Oof, that's a commitment. I thought that this was a bit much, but since I always wanted to play the system, I agreed eventually. We even created a character directly after that. The session itself was fine, but the group made a lot of effort to boast with their past achievements. I've played with worse groups, so I was not worried. After the session, one of the players messaged me and asked me if I was trans, so I agreed. It's not a secret. I just don't want to bother strangers with that. She got really worried and told the DM, so he messaged me a couple of hours before the game started and told me that we need to talk. There, I found out that he views everyone in the LGBTQ spectrum as child rapists. And the only reason he even talked to me was because I named this specific scenario as my trigger. I offered him to stay in the campaign temporarily until he could form an opinion of me, but he ultimately decided against it and threw me out. Of course, he used a lot of transphobic talk during the conversation while he treated me normally the session before. All the players were completely fine with the decision since his game were a large part of their lives now. One even admitted that to me. I still get bad feelings thinking about that experience, and am checking the DM's political views before I join a campaign now. I guess my lesson was learned that day. That sucks. I mean, look, everyone is like everyone can have their opinion and their own political views. I do think this should be a session 0 talk. The fact that they treated you normally and then you said something and then you told them, and then you got kicked, it was extreme to say the least. To me, what would happen, 6 months down the road and you utter this, I'm trans rhetoric to them, would they have the same feelings? Or would they be like, oh, so you're just like a normal person, so my views, i.e. child rapists, are not correct? Either way, you should never kick someone because of anything regarding to their personal life. Like, I don't have a problem. I've never had an issue with any person at my table. You treat them with respect, and they'll treat you with respect, and if that bridge is built, it can last for years. Trust me. You can have a lifelong friend if you just accept people. Well, hopefully that last story wasn't completely off the rails. I did go on a little tangent, but I like to think I gave some good advice. Anyway, I want to thank you very much for watching today. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff that makes the little DM that much bigger. And of course, I will always see you in the next one. Bye-bye.